Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jam Bets NFL Conference Championship Sunday. I am Tyke, joined as always by the fantastic Momma Mia. So for this video, we're going to be doing a quick recap of our Sunday divisional games, which was Rams, Eagles, and Ravens versus Bills. Then we're going to jump right into the conference championship games. We've got two awesome games today. Couple over underperformers that we're going to be looking at. So, Mama Mia, would you like to kick us off?
Absolutely. This is going to be a great day. We got some great games today. Just unbelievable. But let's get to the chase. LA Rams versus Eagles. I had them projected at LA 24, Eagles 28, ended up 22-28. So I was close. It was very cold and slippery. It hurt the Rams a bit. I had Cooper Kupp as my overperformer. He did okay, 5 of 7 for 61 yards. My overperformer for Philadelphia was Jalen Hurts. He had a pedestrian day. He carried the ball 7 times, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. He threw 15. He connected on 15 of 20 passes, 128 yards. I gave up a safety in the last quarter. My underperformers were the defenses. I thought the Rams defense would have trouble with Saquon. That happened. They did get a safety, as I said. They had 7 sacks. They did give up 28 points, so not their best day. Philadelphia was an overperformer. I'm sorry, because I like Vic Fangio, and they did. They came up really big. They had 5 sacks, three fumbles, no interceptions. My underperformer for Philadelphia was the punter because I couldn't figure anything out there. When we get to the Baltimore Buffalo game, I had projected a score of 25-27. It ended up being 27-28. So I was pretty close.
Very close.
My overperformer was Henry. Kind of took the easy way out. He did pretty good. My underperformer for Baltimore was Likely and Andrews. Likely did score a touchdown. Andrews did have a fumble in the fourth quarter with just over 3 minutes to play. He also dropped that pass in the end zone. So he probably would say he did not have a very good day. And my Buffalo players, I took Josh Allen to be Superman, and he delivered. He rushed 10 times, 20 yards for 2 touchdowns, passed 22 times, connected 16 times for 127 yards. So that's what I had for my over and underperformers. How about you, Tyke? What did you have on these games?
So for the first game, Rams versus Eagles, I took Barkley as my overperformer. Like, with you, that was kind of a no brainer, easy route. But we're only talking about a couple games here. There's not a whole lot of there's not a plethora of players to choose from here. Barkley definitely overperformed. Got 26 carries as you mentioned. He averaged almost 8 yards per carry. It was just an unreal day for him. I picked Kopp as my underperformer, so we were opposites there. He was very average. I don't know if I would say he underperformed. I don't think he overperformed either though, but I think he went pretty average. And then for the Ravens Bills game, I had one overperformer. I was with you as well there. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had 16 carries, 84 yards, averaged just over 5 yards a carry, and did have a touchdown as well. Um, One thing we did say in that for those Sunday games is that if the Eagles or the Ravens were going to lose, it was going to be because one of those running backs did not get 20 carries. Derrick Henry got 16 carries, and the Ravens lost. So I think we did pretty well on that prediction. I think the Ravens kind of got in their own way. Took Derrick Henry a little bit to get going, but he's a freight train. It always takes him a little bit to get going. I feel like he does his best in the end of the game, and he wasn't getting the ball. But moving on to conference championships, we've got Eagles versus Commanders, divisional game here as well. Don't see that often in the conference championship. Eagles are favored by 6.5 points, so one touchdown would cover one way or the other, and the total is 47.5 points. Mamma Mia, who are you looking at for the Eagles Commanders game?
Well, I am looking at Philadelphia to win. I think their defense and the problem with trying to contain Saquon is going to be too much for Washington. However, I've been counting out Washington, and they have been showing up. So I think there is a possibility that Washington wins this game. So I'm going to say that Washington covers the spread, and I'm going to go with a final score of 23-24. Okay. At Detroit, Washington was ahead after the second quarter, 31-21, and then they scored 14 points in the fourth quarter for final 45-31. The two touchdowns in the fourth quarter were two rushing touchdowns. Washington time of possession was 34 minutes, so they dominated Detroit. I think Detroit's defense was the issue, and Philadelphia's defense is not going to be an issue today. So, in week 11, Philadelphia won at Philadelphia 26-18. But I think Washington is feeling like they're on fire and momentum is on their side. So, again, that's why I think it's going to be a very close game. My overperformer for Washington in this game is going to be Damani Brown. I think he is going to be a linchpin for them. I imagine that Philadelphia is going to cover AJ and Goddard pretty good, and Damani Brown is going to be left with one guy over him. So he should be doing good. Last meeting, he only had 2 targets, caught 1 for 4 yards. They need him to be in the game more. So they're going to have to spread the ball around to lighten up this Philadelphia defense. However, there is an offensive lineman that's on injured reserve for Washington. Cammy, is that his name? I believe so. And that could be a problem for Washington. So I think that might be something we want to keep an eye on. And the Philadelphia defense, I believe, is pretty healthy. And then when we turn around and look at underperformers, my overperformer for Philadelphia is the Philadelphia defense. I think they're playing at a fantastic level. Everyone is where they belong, when they belong there. And they did have a lot of success in the last meeting with Washington. So I look for that continued success. But I do think Washington, if Philadelphia takes off and runs the ball and scores, trying to eat up the clock, Jay Daniels is just phenomenal. He'll throw that ball down the field. He doesn't care. And, they'll score right back within 30 seconds, a minute. He can score quick. So he's very dangerous. Reminds me a lot of the younger Patrick Mahomes when he was slinging the ball around. Now they're more of a finesse offense. Well, they are missing Rashid Rice on that side of the ball, so I digress. So my overperformers are Dynami Brown for Washington and Philadelphia's defense. My underperformers is the Washington defense. Obviously, every defense that has faced Saquon has had an issue with him. The last time they met, I think Saquon had 26 carries for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, carried the ball, or caught the ball 2 times out of 3 targets for 52 more yards. So he's going to be hard to stop. If they're going to win, they have to stop Saquon. So the run defense for Washington is going to be under duress, and I believe they are missing Rapp, right? Is that true?
Rapp? No, Rapp is on the Bills.
Okay.
The Commanders are missing Daron Payne, the defensive tackle.
Oh, that's right. The defensive. Thank you. Yeah, so good luck stopping the run without him on the field. And then on the underperformer for Philadelphia, I'm going to go with Smith. He's played really well this year. I just think that Washington is probably going to cover him pretty good. And he does have a tendency to not ghost, but in big moments, drop the end zone pass. He has that tendency. So I think he may underperform today. And that's where I am with my Philadelphia game. And if you want me to keep going on to my
No,
Buffalo Kansas.
no, we'll do one game at a
Okay,
time.
wonderful.
So for
How about you?
the Eagles Commanders, I think the Eagles will win this. I think the Eagles will cover as well. So we're on opposite sides of that one. I think the Eagles win by a touchdown here. Two defensive tackles for each team are out. Byron Jones, who is the backup for the Eagles, is out, but he comes in on quite a bit of rotations. And then Darren Payne, the starting defensive tackle. Um, they're both the nose tackle, inside defensive tackle. Both will be out. For my overperformer, I'm going to take Saquon Barkley. Um, I think it'll be interesting to watch that dynamic. Washington needs to stop him. That has to be their first and really probably only objective. And being down during pain is not a good start to that objective there, in my opinion. They do have Bobby Wagner over there, Cam Curl as well as the safety. Those two will try to stop him. It'll be good to watch Bobby Wagner, see what he can do against Barkley. Wagner is a little bit long in the tooth now for a starting middle linebacker, but he's a beast. So he's definitely going to be watching Saquon. Um, but I'll be taking Barkley as my overperformer. He hits that criteria that I like to see. 4+ yards per carry when he's running in man and zone type schemes. And the Commanders are allowing more than 4 yards per carry against opposing running backs in man and zone. The Eagles' offensive line is probably the best in football as well. In my opinion, the best offensive line remaining in the playoffs. And I think they're going to be a challenge for the Commanders' defensive line to stop them. So for that reason, I'm taking the Eagles. I think Saquon's going to have a big game. For my underperformer, it's kind of difficult to pick on somebody here. But I'm going to pick on Terry McLaurin a little bit. I think there's a chance Terry McLaurin has a lot of yards, but I don't think Terry McLaurin's going to have a lot of receptions. Washington hasn't really given him a whole lot of designed plays recently. He hasn't had a whole lot of screens, pick routes, things like that. So he hasn't really been getting the ball in, kind of like those simulated runs or that offenses like to do. We'll see. Maybe that changes today. Terry McLaurin, I think he has under 6 receptions in this game. And then I have an honorable mention as an overperformer. I'm going to be doing A.J. Brown. Washington's pass defense is horrific. They are so bad against the pass. They haven't really seen anything to stop that, and A.J. Brown is he's kind of due a little bit here as well. There's a lot of heat on the passing game of the Eagles. I could see that going away this game. You don't want to go into the playoffs not having half your offense working. So I could see A.J. Brown. He's my honorable mention. Plus, in the last game these two played, A.J. Brown had 15 targets, eight receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown. So this could be a get-right game for A.J. Brown and potentially Jalen Hurts. But I'm putting an honorable mention of A.J. Brown to overperform. All right, then we'll move on to the night game. We have Buffalo at Kansas City. I am so excited for this game. This is basically like the Super Bowl for me right here. The line has dropped here a little bit as well. It is moving favorably into Buffalo's, or towards Buffalo, I guess I'll say. Line is now 1.5 points. So Buffalo is getting 1.5 points. Kansas City is minus 1.5 points. The total for this game is also 48.5. As Momma Mia mentioned earlier, Rapp, the Bills' starting safety, is out. And then the Bills' cornerback on the right side of the field, Christian Benford, is questionable in concussion protocol. He has missed two or three practices this week already. So that's going to be a game time decision. If those two guys are out, That's two players in the Bills secondary that will be out for this game. But Mama, who are you looking at for the Bills Chiefs game?
Holy cow. This is an epic game. Buffalo beat them at home, beat Kansas City when Buffalo was at home earlier in the year. Buffalo, to win this game, they must stop Kelsey. He is just he's quietly having, those big plays. The big test is on the offensive side is for Joe Brady. It is very hard to confuse the Kansas City defense. It seems like Spagnuolo is in Josh Allen's head. Josh Allen is playing incredible this year. So for Kansas to win, they have to stop Allen. That's it. Just stop Allen. So having said that, my overperformer for Buffalo is Cook. I think they need Cook to have a big day to take the pressure off Allen a little bit, lighten up this defense, and make things a little more interesting. And Cook can have a big day. I mean, he's playing, like I said earlier in our other podcasts, I don't recognize this guy. He's playing really good. Over this regular season, he's had 207 carries, 1,009 yards, 16 rushing touchdowns. He's had 38 targets, caught 32 for 258 yards and 2 more touchdowns. He's involved. He's very involved. And so if they're keying on Allen, maybe Cook has a big day. Plus, you want to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. So you need to run the ball. Sleepers on that side might be Davis and Ty Johnson because they've been playing very well in the playoffs as well. My overperformer for Kansas is that defense. They're fully healthy. They must win. They've only let 2 teams score over 30 points. Week 11, Buffalo was one of those teams. And then week 18 against Denver. But Andy Reid rested the entire, everyone was rested, so they weren't on the field. And they lost that game. They didn't care. They didn't care if they won that game against Denver. It didn't matter. He was resting the players. Sleeper for Kansas City would be Xavier Worthy. He might step up and have a really big game. Kansas City's really missing Rashid Rice. So we're looking for Worthy to kind of step up in that game. So, I could go on with a bunch of stats, but this game is probably going to be some kind of record breaker. Perhaps the record breaking score is that Buffalo actually wins and Josh Allen exercises the ghost of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs. I think he's 0 for 3 in the playoffs against them. So this is just going to be, but again, the Bills, so my underperformers, I'm sorry, I didn't go through those. The Bills are my underperformer. The Bills defense on passing specifically. Kansas City's offensive line is one of the best. And the Bills did have 4 interceptions against Houston, but Josh Allen is not turning the ball over this year. Well, maybe that'll change. Every time I say that, then there's 4 turnovers, right? My underperformer for Kansas City, I think, is going to be Kareem Hunt. I do believe Pacheco is going to get more of a share in this game. I said that last week and it didn't happen, but I think that's what's going to happen here. All right, so there we go. How about you, Tyke? What do you think is going to happen here?
So I'm taking the Bills to win outright. I think Josh Allen and the Bills finally get over the Chiefs' curse here. I think the Chiefs' defense is obviously, well, I won't say obviously, but the Chiefs' defense, in my opinion, is why the Chiefs have been so successful this season. Last week, the Chiefs were in trouble against the Texans, and I think Spagnuolo had to show some cards that he really wanted to play today. So in the fourth quarter of Chiefs-Texans last week, the Chiefs started running a cover 0 blitz defense, which is a defense the Chiefs ran less than 3% of plays throughout the season. It was a play that wasn't on tape. It was a play they never used. I have a feeling that defensive scheme was put into the playbook and practiced in hopes it was going to be used against the Bills and kind of catch them off guard. But I think they had to use it last week because they had their backs up against the wall. The Chiefs defense is so well coached. They are one of the few defenses that run 4 different defensive schemes at almost 20% plus. Most teams run 3 defensive schemes. When you put that cover 0 in for the Chiefs, they're able to run 5 different defensive schemes. That is incredibly impressive to have all of your defensive backs know where their coverage assignments are, where their run assignments are. It's difficult to do that. And the Chiefs bringing out that new defense last week in a scheme that they didn't really have any or very much game practice in, and they did it excellent. That was, in my opinion, the difference maker of that game, was that those blitzes that the Chiefs were able to bring. That was out of the cover 0 at the end of that game, if anyone watched it. So the Bills now have tape on that cover 0 defense. You know, the ace in their sleeve, I feel like, had to be played a little bit earlier than they wanted. So the Bills definitely have that on tape now and are probably prepared for those types of exotic blitzes. So my first overperformer I'm going to be taking is Josh Allen. Josh Allen, he's Superman back there. He's unbelievable. I don't have any crazy stats for him, but if the Bills are going to win, it's going to be because of Josh Allen. You know, I see Josh Allen getting rushing yards, passing yards, stiff-arming people. He's going to be a problem for the Chiefs. And if he's not a problem, then the Chiefs are going to win this game easily. So I'll be watching Josh Allen, and I'm taking him as my first overperformer. My second overperformer that I'm going to take is going to be Hollywood Brown. Again, I took him last week. He burned me. He didn't even have a target last week. I don't think the Chiefs win this game without throwing the ball to their wide receivers again. It's crazy to me that they won last week with Hollywood Brown having 0 receptions and Hopkins. I think Hopkins had a catch. Xavier Worthy had 5. But I think Hollywood Brown is going to be more involved this game. It's a playoff game. His yards and his receiving line is pretty low. I think he can exceed that. The Bills run a couple different defenses as well, but the Bills run cover 3 nearly 30% of their plays, and that's Hollywood Brown's bread and butter. Hollywood Brown has almost a 50% target share against cover 3. Now, mind you, it's only a 2-game sample. It's actually 46% target share when opposing defenses are in a cover 3. And he's averaging almost 4 yards per route ran against cover 3. So if the Bills are going to keep that as their primary defense today, I see Hollywood Brown getting some good targets. Hollywood Brown has good matchups against other ones as well. Cover 4, he's actually has 100% target share, only 2 receptions against cover 4. Not a lot of teams run that cover 4. But the Bills do. You touched on Worthy earlier. I think it will be interesting to watch Worthy and Keenan Coleman. Worthy was picked with the Bills draft pick. So if Worthy beats the Bills today, their fans are going to flip out. if Worthy has 200 yards and 2 touchdowns on a pick that the Chiefs and the Bills traded for, the Bills Mafia is gonna flip.
Yeah.
So secretly kind of rooting for that to happen, but not really because I want the Bills to win.
Right.
And then I do have 2 honorable mentions I'm going to give. Keenan Coleman will be one of them. Chiefs run a good amount of man coverage, especially when they bring out that cover 0 defense. Coleman's been pretty solid against man defenses this year, especially at the back half of the year. He's gained a lot of trust from Josh Allen. So I think Keenan Coleman could be sneaky there. Chiefs defense, they run man coverage. The cover 1 alone, 21% of plays. Plus, when you bring in the cover 0, not a lot of data on that since they brought it out 1 quarter last week. But if you bring that in, they could be in man coverage pretty significantly. And Coleman, he gets a lot of targets versus man coverage. And then the last honorable mention I have is going to be Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox, he's a favorite of Josh Allen's in the playoffs. He's been in 12 playoff games. He has 6 playoff touchdowns. And he has a touchdown in each of the Bills' past 4 postseason runs. Not games, but past 4 postseasons. He doesn't have one yet this postseason. And Kansas City's a little bit weak to tight end. So maybe Dawson Knox gets in there. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I like Dawson Knox today.
Very good. Did you have a score on this game?
I don't have a score. The spread is 47.5. I'll take the Bills. Let's go 24-17.
Ooh, that's a big spread there. Okay. I don't know if I said mine, but I'm taking Kansas City 28-27. I think it's going to be a nail biter. Whoever has the ball last, unless the Buffalo defense is impacted by Taylor Rapp's absence, which is always a possibility that they, key in on those injury backup players.
Yeah. So who do you have winning this game, Mom?
I'm going with Kansas City by 1 point.
KC. Okay, we're on opposite sides here.
Yeah, I would love to see Buffalo flip it and win. I think that's going to make it but I think it's going to be an incredibly close game, and it could go either way. There's Kansas City's at home, and the points is under a field goal, so that's not really saying you're a favorite at home. And Kansas City, who's 8-0 at home this year, what?
When you say it like that.
Yeah, I don't know, but the Bills are for real, and they've been to this dance a few times, and I do think that Joe Brady has made a big difference in this offense, but it's really going to be between the defenses. Who can shut who down? If Spags can shut down Joe Brady's offense, they'll win the game. But if they can't stop Allen, and they can't shut that defense down, the Bills have a real chance at this game, I think.
Yeah. I am so excited for it. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching with us. Please give us a like and subscribe as well. And we'll see you for the Super Bowl or maybe the Pro Bowl.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Bye.